We're going hog. We're going hog on a to-do app, and it's going to be in the style of Google Keep. You can see here, we just got the finished article here, just giving you a quick look around it. If you haven't used Google Keep, it's a really slick note and checklist app. And as you'll see, I've created a starter project which is linked below. This includes webpacks and minor config to get us off the ground. This is video 1 of a 2-parter, so if you're only interested in the JavaScript segment, jump over to video 2 now. If you're a really dedicated person, and I hope you are, you'll stick around, watch me grind this out, because it's going to be a lot of fun. Oh. Okay, I've started her up, I've run npm install and npm start, and this is the basic hello world page I've given us to get start off with. And I'm just going to take that out and kick things off with a main body element, and we're going to start just adding classes and some basic HTML content that we need to make this app happen, basically. And we want a little title. You can add whatever title you want there. Make sure you're trying to use some semantic tags, you know, H1, ULs, LIs. One thing I always find weird, and I think I had a quick look at the Google Keep app to see how they built it. They're never using any semantic HTML. But anyway, to do wrap, to do list, to do item, and then we've got our first thing to do. So you can see in the browser there, we've got an unstyled UL, we've got the title, and we've got an LI. So we need to make some style changes, obviously. So we've got style.sss, which is our main section, but we're creating a style vars file. This is going to work as a central place where I'm going to stick some variables that I'm going to use, you know, throughout. Do our best to follow some best practices here. So we've got some colors that we've identified as being used on Google Keep, and we've stuck them in there. We've imported them into our main style file, and now we've got a style globals file where I'm going to use this to set some defaults, override some tags. Generally, you shouldn't really be styling elements directly, or I have always been taught that. But if you do an override, you got to do it. It's just one of them. You got to make sure your body and your HTML's, you know, playing by the rules. Got to jump back over to Google Keep. Just check these styles. The font. We want that font to be the correct thing. Luckily, Google Chrome comes with these fonts. I think. Might not be. It'll fall back to one that's supported anyway. We're not going to add any you know, non-default fonts. And yes, we want to make sure our buttons are not horrific. They've got all the cool styles that Google Keep use. Give it that background color that we all know and love. Text, font text, color. The padding of 0. We don't want any extra padding at the minute. No border, no outline. And we want to make sure they know they're hovering on it. And we're using rem, of course, relative to the root. If you don't know about rem, give it a read. I like rem a lot. We are looking about where we want to be. So it's time to start styling up our elements that we've stuck in there. And I've checked this already. Keep is about 600 pixels wide, and we want to center it. So, well, it's when it's got the checklist with some things in anyway. We made a mistake on the main tag there. It should be main, not end main. So we've got the ampersand for a child selector there. Got our body there centered, but we want our margin to have a little our title to have a little margin under it, sorry. And now we're going to start styling up our actual to-dos just a little bit. Let's get a little border around it using that same text color. And nice border radius of 8. You want those rounded corners. And you want a bit of space. They gotta breathe. Just check what Google keeps using. Yeah, and they're using 8, so we're already there. We don't have to worry. Next, we're going for our list. We don't want any of those bullet points. Get rid of them. No padding, no margin. Not at the minute anyway. And our items. Oh yes. They're all relative. That's going to be important later. And we want them to flex. We need that content to be lined up. And we want it to line up to the start, obviously. We're just guessing here with a margin of 6. Should be about right. But we do want some icons, so we're going to use Font Awesome. If you haven't used Font Awesome, it's pretty awesome. You can just take these tags that they provide you, stick it into your actual project, and then you need to obviously include their CSS. So we're just going to use a CDN, and we're going to stick that in our head. Rel of style sheet, naturally. Give it the href we just took. Close it off. Refresh, and look, there's the tick. We stuck that HTML in to represent the tick. FA solid, FA check. We want to do some of our own bits there, so we're going to give it to do check. And it's going to be a button. It's going to be clickable. So stick that in a button. We're going to call it check button. And you'll notice I'm using BEM naming convention, which I like a lot. I use that even when I'm doing modules, so you can do the same if you want, or don't. It's up to you. We want this icon to have a little bit of space to the side, and it's going to be checked. You know, this is when it's checked. Obviously it'll be unchecked, and the border will remain, so we'll keep that border. So that's the parent selector when you stick the ampersand at the end, in case you don't know. And we can see we've set the color of the text only when the item is checked. So there, you can see it. Just for demonstration purposes, we'll take it out, stick it in a comment for later, and you can see the box is unchecked now. We're thinking ahead, you see, we're thinking ahead as we go. The other button we're going to need is the cross button, you know, like for when you want to remove a to-do, so get that remove in there. Get back over to Font Awesome and let's look for a cross. Or a plus, we can use that if we rotate it. So copy that. Same process, we need a class. We're going to put cross. And we need to style up that remove button. It's not going to be inline, so we're putting it to the side. We're just doing a bit of guessing on this styling for now. And we want to center align it. You know, like we've pushed it down 50%, sorry, but then we've used half of its height with that transform. So it's in the middle. Can't see it right now because it's not active. Do the same old, so when the when its item above is hovered, parent selector again, display block. There you go, you can see it, but it's still a plus. So we're going to grab the actual icon now, give it a transform rotate, 45 degrees. Look at that, you've got a cross. We are making progress. We'll put that back in there for now. So it's checked, and you can remove it if you want, although you can't, because we haven't added any JavaScript yet. And yeah, we want to add a bit of text decoration. When one is checked, you want to get that line through, so they know that they've finished with that task. Put that back there, demonstrate it. So unchecked, no line, checked, line. Oof, now we're getting onto the form. This is where we're going to actually add new items to the list. So far all we've got is that example one. So we're going to use the form. We're going to use a form submit button. We want that plus. This time it won't be rotated, because you want people to be adding to the list. And obviously we need a text input, so we just need one input, I believe. We're just going to use a bog standard text. It's obviously required, and we're going to steal the prompt from Google Keep. Take a note. There it is. Looks awful. Well, actually it looks perfectly functional, but we're gonna rejig. So we start a new block. Remember, BEM, block element modifier, words to live by. We want those in line. So that's our form. That's pretty much all we need to do to that. We want our input to match the rest of our colors. So we do the background color there and the font color. No border, no outline. Obviously display block, no padding. We want it to take up as much width as we can. No margin. Get that plus, give it a bit of space. We want a bit of margin to the side of it as well. I'm just winging it a bit here. 12 pixels, looking good. And the submit button, we want to make sure they know when they're hovering over it. Yes, yes, yes. So nothing's happening. Obviously, there's no JavaScript, but we're looking good. We obviously can use the input to make sure we are hitting that like and subscribe button. And that's it for our HTML and CSS part. Look at it, looks fan-diddly-tastic, to steal a line from Ned Flanders. Got any questions, put them in the comments. Head on over to part 2, and I've got a challenge for you at the end as well, so stick around for that.